Hello, Nick family. Welcome to my channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that notification button so you'll be notified anytime I go live or drop a video. Today, I want to talk about the KNICK rookies, Quentin Grimes, Miles McBride, Jericho Sims. And what I want to do is pull up their draft profile, their strengths and weaknesses coming into the NBA to see if any of their strengths have translated or not and if they have improved on any of their weaknesses. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes, first round draft pick. He played in 46 of 82 games for the Knicks. He started in six. He averaged in 17 minutes, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, shot 40.4% from the field, 38.1% from three, only 68.4% from the free throw line. Per 36, 12.6 points, 4.3 rebounds, 2 assists, and the percentages don't change. He did have a season high of 27 points versus Milwaukee back in December, where he shot 7 of 13 from three in 39 minutes. Okay. According to NBA draft.net's draft profile, let's get into his strengths and weaknesses. And I will say there are multiple draft profile sites that you can go to. I tend to like NBA draft.net. These are his strengths coming into last year's draft. Operates mostly as a floor spacer offensively, does the majority of his damage from beyond the three-point line, shot 40% from three as a junior at the University of Houston, and took 8.3 attempts per game. Has NBA range and is effective coming off screens or running to open spots along the perimeter, making him a nice valve to have in transition or with slashing guards who collapse the defense. This has definitely translated in his rookie year. He has NBA range and he has operated mostly as a floor spacer. I didn't see a lot of mid-range shots. I didn't see a lot of driving and or finishing at the rim. He knew where to spot up along that three-point line to make himself seen for, players who were coming down in transition or the point guards or whoever who would drive in the lane. He does pretty well at finding that spot where he can be seen and be, like they said, a release valve. So he did that very well. Pretty nice perimeter defender overall. Gets into a stand, shows the strength and active feet to deny penetration and force tough shots. With his frame and active feet, he should be able to comfortably defend shooting guards and most small forwards at the pro level. We saw that. Active hands, active feet, toughness, fighting over screens. He's 6'5", but he has a 6'8" wingspan. So that does allow him to defend taller guards and small forwards even. So that has definitely translated his ability to defend on the perimeter. Also contributes on the glass, averaged 5.7 rebounds a game as a junior, especially offensive boards. He averaged 2 rebounds a game in 17 minutes, 4.3 rebounds per game per 36. I think he will be a good rebounder for his size and position in the NBA. But let's move on to his weaknesses. Not a shot creator, really struggles at times with creating his own offense. Though an adequate athlete, he lacks quickness and struggles to get separation because of poor ball handling, struggles to go left, and is a predictable slasher with limited moves. Yeah, I didn't see a lot of shot creation with Grimes. Like we talked about, he doesn't put the ball on the floor to shoot the mid range. He doesn't go to the rim. His ball handling does need to be better. I mean, in high school, he was a point guard, right? So you would think that he's been doing, ball handling drills. So that's something he definitely has to get better at. Can become passive and ineffective if his shot isn't falling. I could see that. If he's not hitting the three, he's not going to give you much else offensively other than moving the ball. I still think he's an asset defensively, whether he's scoring or not. And remember, there are some coaches I remember who would start their best defensive player whether they would give them anything offensively or not. And at least Quentin Grimes can give you, can shoot the 3-point shot. So he is a true, at this point, 3 and D player. A bit mechanical, lacks fluidity to his game. As Clyde says, he's not loosey-goosey. He's not one of those player. We talked about his in-between game needs improvement, especially considering he will have a tougher time getting to the rim off the bounce at a pro level, right? Really struggles to convert, like we talked about, near the rim. That was an issue for him even in college. So he comes across to me, he had a good season. He's a good rotation player, high floor player, low ceiling player, but if he improves his mid-range game, if he improves his ball handling, his ceiling may raise a little bit. That's Quentin Grimes. He's one of my favorite players on the team because you know what you're going to get from him game in and game out. He may not have, again, that high ceiling, but for what he does bring, he does it well, and I think he will only get better at it. Let's move on to Miles McBride, second round pick. He played in 40 of 82 games. I was surprised that he played in 40 games. He started only 10 minutes a game. He had a season high 15 points, 9 assists, no turnover game versus Houston in December. But for the season, 9 minutes, 2.2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, shot just 29.6% from the field, only 25% from three, only 66.7% from the free throw line. He shot much better than that in college. Per 36, 8.6 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Let's get into his strengths and weaknesses as per NBA Draft, NBADraft.net. All right, his strength. Tremendous defender, especially on the ball, where he utilizes his huge 6'9" wingspan and lateral speed to make things difficult for opposing league guards. Great anticipation on the defensive end and often gets to the spot before opposing guards do, making it extremely difficult to initiate the offense against him. This has translated, right? His defense, his lateral quickness, his tenacity, his confidence has definitely translated. And listen, we seen him against Brunson. I like Jalen Brunson. A lot of Knicks fans like Jalen Brunson, but McBride gave him a hard way to go to get into the spot. So I think against those guards that are not very quick, he can really make it hard for him. We saw that. Incorporates a solid floater in his game when driving to the basket, uses his size well to finish plays with dunks at the rim. We didn't see that a lot in the NBA. We saw it more if you watched his G League games. But again, I think that was just lack of opportunity. He played less than 10 minutes a game. Very shifty with the ball in his hands and understands how to use fakes and hesitations to create space. If you saw him play at West Virginia, you know that was the case. Shows the ability to pull up off the dribble. Very good in that respect in college, especially in the mid range. Very capable ball handler. Again, we didn't see that a lot as the Knicks because he didn't play a lot, and when he did play, his role was very limited. Smooth, fluid shooting motion. Knocked down over 41.4% from three and 81.3% from the free throw line in college. His three-point shooting and free throw shooting was not very good in the NBA. Again, I don't know if that's due to limited minutes, not being able to get into the rhythm, but we know he has a history of shooting the three-point shot well and shooting free throws well. Excellent 4.9 to 1.8 assist to turnover ratio, and that has definitely translated. He does not turn the ball over. Like I mentioned in that Houston game, 0 turnovers, and I forget how many. He played extended minutes in that game. So these are Miles McBride's strengths. Let's get to his weaknesses. His feel for the game needs some improvement. Decision making must improve as well. Plays a little sporadic as a floor general and will need to learn to control the tempo of the game and become a better facilitator in order to be a full-time starting point guard at the next level. Now, Kimba was hurt. Rose was hurt. I think Kimba played 37 games. Rose played 25 games. Tibbs chose to go with Burks at the point guard, back him up with IQ. You know, part of it could be Tibbs' philosophy. He doesn't believe in playing point guards in these particular roles. But it can also be what it says right here, that they saw in practice that his feel for the game needed some improvement, that his decision making needed improvement, and that his overall game as a floor general needed improvement. Remember, he spent the most time in the G League. The Knicks don't even use the G League, even with Tibbs being here. He spent the most time in the G League. So maybe that they felt this was an opportunity for him to develop, get more time running a team on a higher level than the college level. Not a great ISO guy, which is fine for me. As good as he is laterally, he lacks a great burst off the dribble. First step is good, but not elite. Struggles at blowing by defenders and getting to the rim. I saw some of that, but again, the sample size is really small. Transition game needs improvement. Doesn't have elite skill at this point, but does a lot of things well. Considered by some as more of a combo guard than a point guard. I mean, I think at 6'1", even with his, wingspan, I still think he projects. He will play the point guard position in the NBA. I can't imagine him playing off ball at that size unless he just turns into a knockdown shooter or scorer. Can be too aggressive at times defensively and gamble for steals instead of playing sound defense on his man. I didn't see a lot of that. I thought he played sound defense. But if you saw it, comment below. Deferred a little too much at times instead of taking over the way he was capable of. Some of that may have been due to the system and being a team player. You could say the same thing about him being on the Knicks. I think a lot of it was just, his role was small when he got into the game. It just wasn't his role to take over. His role was to keep that offense flowing, make sure he made his rotations on both offense and defense. He did that. So I did see him deferring, but I think that was more his role. We need a larger sample size before we can say he's one of them guys that just allows the game to come to him. When you saw him play in the G League, if you had the opportunity to watch him play, he was very aggressive down there, right? I didn't see him laid back, waiting for the game to come to him. He went at it. So again, what we saw with the Knicks, it may have just been his role. You don't want to make a mistake. You get a limited time, as it is. That's Miles McBride. I like him. I like the defense that he plays. I just don't see a path forward for him unless the Knicks move some guys. We got IQ in front of him. Rose, if he returns, is in front of him. If the Knicks bring in a point guard, that player will be in front of him. So I don't really see a path forward for him as well. But who knows? Things can change. Let's move on to Jericho Sims. Second round pick, also pick number 58. He played in half the Knicks games. He played in 41 of 82 games, started in 5, played 13.5 minutes a game, averaged 2 points, 4 rebounds, half a block, shot 72.2% from the field. Obviously, didn't take a three-point shot. Well, not so obviously. Didn't take a three-point shot. Shot only 41.4% from the free throw line. Like, wow. Per 36, 6 points, 11 rebounds, 1.4 blocks. The percentages stay the same at per 36. So you would think doesn't happen this way with all players, but with more time, 11 rebounds, 1.5 blocks per game, that's pretty significant. Season high 13 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks versus Brooklyn back in April. According to NBA Draft.net's player profile, let's get into his strengths and weaknesses. Big time athleticism, enormous 7'3" wingspan that he uses well on both ends of the floor, runs the floor like a deer and looks to convert any opportunities he gets in the open court or as a roll man with strong finishes above the rim. I think in terms of him finishing off the pick and roll, that has translated. I don't think the Knicks guards saw him as much. I think they missed opportunities to hit him as a role man, but that has translated. In terms of him running the floor like a deer and finishing in transition, I haven't seen that. But again, that's the Knicks. The Knicks will last in pace. They don't really push the ball a lot. So he has that ability, but I think because of the offense and the way the Knicks play the game, we really didn't get a chance to see that. And then also he stays in, he doesn't leak out, he stays in from rebounds. We saw it with Obi Toppin and IQ, but not so much, not at all with Jericho Sims. Possesses a quick second step, a quick second jump, which when coupled with his length allows him to be an effective offensive rebounder, put back threat. Now, he is a good offensive rebounder. I think he averages 4.3 rebounds a game. 1.5 of them are offensive. So he does give the Knicks second shots. I mean, he's just relentless. You know, if he's not actually grabbing the rebound, he's batting it out to give the Knicks second opportunities. But the ones that he does haul in, these offensive rebounds, he just doesn't look to convert. Now, I don't know if that's lack of confidence. I don't know if it's because he doesn't want to get fouled, because he knows he's not a good free throw shooter. I'm not sure what that is. We appreciate the second chance opportunities, but hopefully as time goes on, he'll become more confident and better at finishing around the rim. The drop step is definitely his go-to post move. He will use the occasional jump hook. I haven't seen that at all. But again, I don't think that's on him. It's just that's just not his role in the offense, right? You're not going to post him up, give him the ball for him to execute a drop step. So he has that in his arsenal. That's good to know. But because of his role on the Knicks, we never saw the drop step. Excellent defensive potential, looks great defending in both the low and high post and in pick and roll switches, has all the lateral quickness and physical tools needed to defend in today's NBA as a big. And that has translated big time, right? That's really where he shines. And we saw him, on switches, playing guards out on the perimeter, actually using him to trap wing players out on the perimeter and then get back to his man. If you just see him out there, he's in his stance, he's moving his feet like a guard. I think in that respect, he has the potential to pretty much be elite there. And he looks like per 36, 11 rebounds, that he can be a very good rebounder. Really improved his defensive fundamentals throughout his 4-year career. Remember, he played 4 years at the University of Texas. Let's get into his weaknesses. Limited offensive play, offers nothing in the way of floor spacing or perimeter skills. Only attempted 1 3-pointer in his entire college career. Remember, he was there for 4 years. Nothing from the mid-range, struggles to make plays for himself or his teammates, and is mostly just an at-the-rim finisher. Now, what I will say is Tom Thibodeau did mention one time that he has playmaking ability. We shall see, if his role ever expands in this offense, if he does have that. Back to the basket game is underdeveloped, usually most effective again when catching and finishing at the rim. Below average free throw shooter. And in fact, his last 3 seasons, his free throw percentage declined each season, right? And so that's discouraging to the thought that he may one day improve his shooting touch. And again, he's shooting 41.1% in the NBA. Overall feel for the game is lacking for such an experienced college player. I didn't see that. At least his defensive feel is pretty good. Again, his offensive feel, his role is very small, right? Dribble handoffs, very small role, setting screens, which he does very well, right? So his feel for the game offensively, it's hard to tell whether that's still the same because, again, his role is very small offensively on this team. Lacks patience on offense, often seems rushed when setting screens or when he has to make a decision with the ball in his hands, leading to turnovers, offensive fouls. That I don't see. He seems to be pretty poised in the offensive sets. In his limited roles, he sets very good screens, right? Getting his players really good looks at the basket. So and he seems patient to me on offense. I haven't seen a lot of turnovers. I haven't seen offensive fouls. So if that was a weakness in college, it seems to have gotten better on the NBA level, or it could be that his role is so small, it's not big enough for it to be exposed. We shall see. With a full 4-year career and only marginal year-to-year improvement, it is fair to assume he is closer to being a finished product than someone with his combination of size and athleticism. Yeah, and that's the thing. So basically, what they're saying is what we see in Jericho Sims right now may be all he becomes, right? He was in college for 4 years. He improved slightly over those 4 years. Will he take off in the NBA? It's hard to tell. He has a high floor. From what they're saying, they seem to think his ceiling is low. But I just want to point something out to you. Now, I'm not saying Jericho Sims is going to be a Ben Wallace, but I just want to point out that in Ben Wallace's rookie and second year, his numbers weren't that great either. In 6 minutes as a rookie, 1 point, almost 2 rebounds, 0.3 blocks, terrible field goal percentage, 34.8%, terrible free throw percentage, 30%. Second year, in 17 minutes, 3 points, 5 rebounds, 1 block, 51.8% from the field, 35.7% free throw shooter. He was never a good free throw shooter for his career. He didn't score a lot. I don't even think he averaged 10 points in any season in the NBA. I think the closest he got was 9.3, 9.7. Now, what Ben does have going for him is that he led Division II in rebounding. When he played, he took his team to a Division II Final Four, you know. But so I'm not saying that Jericho Sims is going to the Hall of Fame, right? Look at Big Ben. Look at this. 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2 triple doubles with blocks, only undrafted player in NBA history to be voted as an all-star. I mean, he was undersized as well, but he dominated the boards and he blocked shots. I don't see Sims being that type of shot blocker, but with his lateral quickness, I do think he can be very disruptive on the defensive end, depending on the schemes used. So again, all right, don't get at me in the comments. I know he's not Ben Wallace. I don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame. But when Ben Wallace came out, nobody thought he was going to the Hall of Fame either. Look at those numbers, you know? And Sims already has something going for him. He got the hairdo already. He got the Ben Wallace hairdo already, so anything is possible. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. The one thing I got from prepping this video and watching hundreds, if not thousands, of rookies coming to the NBA is that you can't tell. Sometimes you could tell, like Luka Doncic, like you could tell. But there's a lot of plays where you just couldn't tell. And you say, I don't think this player is going to be much. And then they really pop. And I'm hoping one of our rookies do the same. And I hope they do it for the Knicks and on the Knicks. Peace, fam. Oh, let me just say, if you're watching this on Tuesday, May 2nd, before 8 p.m., be sure to tune in to the Queen's Court tonight, 8 p.m., where I'm going to talk about the rookies, but I'm going to expand it a little bit. And that's really, given what we know about these rookies, 3 of them, and 2 second-year players and IQ and Obi, what should the Knicks be looking to do, if anything, in the upcoming draft? If you're watching this after May 2nd, the link is down in the description. You could check out Queen's Court. I'll be going live Tuesdays, 9 p.m. on this channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk. So please hit that notification button so you'll be notified anytime I go live or drop a video. Peace, fam. Appreciate you.